Hello everyone. How much do you know about the country Korea? In fact, when we do not know a country well, we often judge a country based on fragmentary images. The story I'm going to tell you today is about that misunderstanding. This is a story about a foreigner who visited Korea and felt warm emotions through his travels. Through the storyteller's experience, we may be able to look back on ourselves and our country. Now, shall we watch it together?
Hello, my name is David. I am 33 years old and live in London, England. I work as an IT consultant and lead a pretty busy life. This time, I took a long vacation and planned a trip to Asia with my old friend Mike. Mike highly recommended Korea, but honestly, I didn't have high expectations at first. Actually, my first impression of Korea was a bit monotonous. It was about cutting-edge technology, K-pop stars like BTS, and the hustle and bustle of the city. There was also a vague prejudice that people would be cold and personal rather than warm. Still, I boarded the plane with curiosity and some doubt. The first day of arrival was very tiring. After a 12-hour flight, we took the subway from the airport to central Seoul. The subway was clean and well organized. It was quite difficult to transfer while following the English announcements. While trying to transfer at a station, we got lost and hesitated. Then a young woman came up and asked in English, "Do you need help?" Although her English was limited, she very kindly told us the direction we should go. He even accompanied me personally. After getting off the subway, she said, "This is your first time visiting Korea, right?" He left with the words, "Welcome." That brief moment left a deep impression on me. The prejudice that it was a cold country was gradually collapsing from day one. On the second day, we decided to walk through the alleyways of Seoul. Rather than the famous tourist attractions, I wanted to experience more of the lives of local people. Then, by chance, I found a small bookstore. It was a really cozy space, full of old wooden shelves and warm lighting. I usually like books, so I went inside, and Mike said he would wait outside for a while. While I was browsing the bookshelf, a middle-aged man approached me. "Are you looking for a Korean book?" he asked with a smile. I was embarrassed and answered, "No, I'm just watching." Then he said, "Can I help you?" and recommended a book that introduces Korean culture. It turned out that he was a bookstore owner, and he told me that his son was studying abroad in England. Mike and I chatted with him for a while. While looking at the recommended book he gave us, he even introduced me to a nearby restaurant. I can still remember his smile when he said, "In Korea, customers are like friends." On the third day, we wanted to escape the hustle and bustle of Seoul, and enjoy some more leisure time. Mike and I decided to visit Han River Park. Perhaps because it was a weekday, the area along the Han River was relatively quiet. People riding bicycles with the river wind blowing, families relaxing on mats, couples walking or enjoying their time. We bought drinks and some snacks at a nearby convenience store, and sat on the lawn. While I was resting for a while, a child who was playing with a dog approached me from a little distance away. I was taken aback by the innocent face of the child, who asked in Korean, "Do you want to pet the dog?" I gestured with my hand to ask if I could pet the dog. At that time, the child's parents approached and called out to the child with concern. But when he saw the situation, he smiled and asked in English, "Are you okay?" We briefly said hello and naturally started talking. It turned out that the family lived nearby. The child said he was very curious, because it was his first time meeting a foreigner. They recommended things to do on the Han River, and told us about the Han River cruise. Finally, the child waves his hand. It was really lovely to see them shouting, "Have fun." Although it was a short meeting, my time at the Han River impressed me beyond simply enjoying the scenery. I was able to feel more deeply The small consideration and warmth of the people of this country. A few days later, we left Seoul and headed to a small village in Gyeongsang-do. When I arrived at the village, the traditional Korean houses and calm scenery captivated me. We found a local restaurant there, and the experience that day was truly unforgettable. As I entered the small restaurant, the owner welcomed me with a bright smile. I was worried because there was no English on the menu. The lady pointed to some dishes with her finger. "This is delicious," he said. We ordered food according to that. After a while, the lady personally brought the food, and even taught me how to eat it. After finishing the meal, when I went to pay, the lady handed me a small rice cake and tea. "Have a good trip," he said. At that moment, I felt so warm. Mike and I looked at each other and were speechless. On the 5th day, we left Seoul and moved to Busan. I wanted to have a new experience while looking at the sea. Upon arrival, we walked through the small alleyways near Haeundae, and enjoyed the atmosphere. It was a place filled with the smell of the sea and the lively sounds of people. That evening, we went to a raw fish restaurant near the beach. There was a slight mistake while looking at the menu and ordering. The staff didn't lose their smile while explaining things kindly. While waiting for our food, a middle-aged man, sitting at the table next to us, started talking to us. He asked in Korean, "Where are you from?" When we told them we were from England, they looked happy and started talking in English. It turned out that he had once spent several years studying abroad. We talked to him about the differences between Korean and British cultures. I decided to try the Korean beer and seafood dishes he personally recommended. He talks about his experience living in Korea. He shared his views on how Koreans treat foreigners. Koreans are shy about approaching strangers. Once we become friends, we tend to form very deep relationships. His words were impressive. After dinner, he took the bill and he smiled and said, "I will buy it for you as a token of welcome." Mike and I were really shocked, but we felt he really cared. That night, we walked along the sea in Busan and talked. Mike said, "David, Korean people are really different. I never thought I'd feel this much warmth in an unfamiliar place." I also had the same thought. This little connection in Busan, it has remained a truly special memory for me. On the last day of our trip, we headed to Seoraksan Mountain. I wanted to feel peace in nature. Mike and I had a really hard time climbing halfway up the mountain. I couldn't stop admiring the beautiful scenery. But at one of the rest areas, a family spoke to us. "A foreigner has come to Seoraksan Mountain. Aren't you tired?" To their question, I smiled awkwardly and answered, "It's so beautiful." The family shared snacks with us and told us about other recommended natural sites in Korea. As we talked for a while and were about to part ways, the child from that family asked me, "Is your trip to Korea fun?" I answered sincerely, "It's so warm and the people are so friendly. It's a good thing you came." At that moment, we all smiled, and meeting that family became a lasting memory for me. When I think of Koreans, whose kindness and familiarity are incorporated into their daily lives, now I feel like Korea is my second home.
Guys, David's travel story isn't just about visiting new places. It was a process of gaining a new perspective. Misconceptions and prejudices about Korea were broken down, one by one, and heartfelt warmth took their place. Through this story, we can also teach the people around us. I hope this will be an opportunity to approach you more warmly. Well, I'll see you next time with another touching story. Thank you. Subscriptions, likes, and notifications are a great help in video production. Thank you for watching.